Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you another video. All right, so I want to talk about Brucey B because he's going to a situation, Bruce Brown, headed to Toronto, and they don't have a win now timeline. This is the NBA champion. He just won a championship last year. Being in Indiana, they had a good offense coming along. They looked like they could make the playoffs. He looked like he could at least contend there for the most part, be a playoff guy. In this situation with Toronto, there's no opportunity for him to make the playoffs. And for him to be on a 2-year contract at $22 million, it stands to reason why a guy like Masai Ujiri would probably try to move him for something that's a bit more cap-friendly and something that'll fit his timeline a bit better. Masai Ujiri prides himself on being somebody who takes advantage of other GMs, particularly bad ones, who want to give him twice of what his goods are worth. So at this point, I'm looking at Brucey B, and I say he still has a reputation as somebody who can help a team win a championship. And there are a lot of teams out there who probably want to unload some things to bring in a piece that they think can bring them to that point. A big guard. He was a lot of trouble for the Lakers to try to match up with him last year in the Western Conference Finals. So this is one of those players I say, okay, if he's in the right situation, he can really help your team. But how much are you willing to give up to get him? Honestly, for me as a Laker fan, I'm not moving a playmaker like D'Lo for him. Even though they're in a similar situation with their contracts, I don't think that really helps us with our continuity issue unless you're going to bring back another point guard. Now, a team that I think would probably be interested in bringing in Brucey B is the team he was on last year, is the Denver Nuggets. He fits in their system, obviously. He's somebody that helped them win a championship, obviously. And as I said, in the Western Conference Finals, he came up big, and throughout the course of the playoffs, he came up very big for them. So for me, if I'm the Denver Nuggets, I want him back. Now, maybe not at $22 million a year, but you figure he's going to be coming off the books. You could probably trade that next year at the trade deadline. So for me, I'm wondering if it makes a lot of sense to bring him back to further solidify your NBA championship situation. And for me, I might. Now, what would I have to give up if I'm the Denver Nuggets? I don't know. I don't know what's in their books. I don't know how their situation looks. So as somebody who doesn't really follow them closely, I'm not really sure. But what I can say is it may be worth it to them to bring him in for a half a season to help solidify what it is that they've already been, which is an NBA championship team missing that piece. Because when it comes to playoff time, I don't know that they have somebody, especially if a guy like KCP goes down, that they can trust to play that role better than a guy who's already played it. And as somebody who's a fan of a team that's already won an NBA championship, who let a player like KCP go and did not replace him at the shooting guard position and still having problems with the shooting guard position, I think if I'm the the Denver Nuggets, I probably want to bring him back. So that's something I'm thinking about. And there are other teams too. And I look at a team like maybe the Milwaukee Bucks. Now that's a team that should definitely be looking at Bruce Brown right now. Because at the end of the day, if they really think that Malik Beasley is going to help them continue to shoot this way for the rest of this year, believe me, man, I had Malik Beasley on my team last year. I learned not to trust Malik Beasley at all. If they really want to win a championship and they really want to hide Dame Lillard defensively in that backcourt, they had better upgrade. And I can't think of a player much better than Brucey B to bring in that situation. A win-now situation, a proven NBA champion, somebody who usually overachieves his opportunities. I think the Milwaukee Bucks will be wise to try to do what they can to put themselves in a position to have him. Now, again, $22 million is a hell of a lot of salary to try to bring in. And I don't know what they have to give up in order to do that. But I can tell you right now, if Milwaukee's serious about beating the Boston Celtics, they're going to need somebody like Brucey B on their roster, period. So those are the two names that come to mind right away. I'm sure there are others. Some of the contenders out there, I'm not really sure if they would be willing to take on that type of salary. A team like OKC, probably not. They got plenty of guards, plenty of everything, and rookie contracts, so that's probably not the move. You look at a team like maybe Minnesota, would they be willing to bring in a Brucey B? It depends. It depends on what it is they have going on with their salary. But again, how can they move salary when they don't really have equity or salary to move? Probably have to give away a key, intricate piece in order to do so. As we talked about the Minnesota Timberwolves in the last video, it's very difficult to really see them having any wiggle room to do anything. Plus, when you consider the fact that they have Anthony Edwards, investing $22 million in a shooting guard probably ain't the way to go. So it's a few teams though. It's a few teams, but I can't think of none more fit in my mind's eye in terms of a contender than the Nuggets and the Bucks. Those are the two teams that if I'm Bruce, I'd probably be like, all right, how can I get over there to one of those squads? Because I don't want to spend the rest of my year in Toronto if I'm him. They're not winning anything. They on a rebuilding timeline. So him at that amount shouldn't be something they want, and then with that timeline isn't something that I'd imagine he wants. So that situation, like they're gonna be parting ways imminently. Sort of like when Drew Holiday got traded to the Blazers. You knew he wasn't gonna be there for longer than 5 minutes. Brucey B is in that exact same situation. Now the question is it gonna be as easy to move Brucey B as it was Drew Holiday? Probably not. It's probably gonna be a little more difficult. Maybe the Boston Celtics, I doubt it though. When I look at the Boston Celtics, I just think they're so wrapped up in salary at this point. They could use a piece, but probably not the piece that Brucey B is. They need more of a center. They need more of a player who's going to put them in a position to have a little more backup stability for a guy like Porzingis, who's often hurt. So I don't really trust necessarily the Boston Celtics to make a deal like that, because if they do a deal like that, they're probably going to be giving up some pieces. At $22 million, it's just going to further draw away from what it is they already have. Plus, he's going to be a backup guy. You probably want to pay him $22 to be a starter, which is why I double back to Milwaukee, because that's the best fit right there that I can think of, man. That's the best fit. Unless a team is going to make some moves to try to switch around their entire shooting guard position, that's the team. And the last team that comes to mind is my very own Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, we could use a shooting guard. Obviously, we would like Brucey B. We loved him at $6 million. At $22 million, again, I'm not moving D'Lo, a ball handler, somebody who's going to be tasked with getting AD the basketball, for a guy who's going to be a shooting guard and then have that problem all over again. Now I'm asking Austin Reeves to play a permanent one, maybe asking the new guy that came from Portland to try to play that role at a higher level than probably he's ready for in a win-now situation. I'm not doing that. I'm more likely to probably pass on Brucey B unless somehow his contract can come down to something that makes me happy. If I'm a Laker fan, I'm not bringing in that contract at $22 million, having the max salary for a guy like what? Rui Hachimura? Close one hole, open two more. Now you got size issues. Now you got Vando, who's been having issues staying healthy. Now you want him to try to play more of your power forward role. Now you're probably overusing Prince even more so to make up for the fact that Rui's no longer in your rotation. It's just not the player to remove Rui for, in my opinion. You can get away with playing him more three, though. I can't say Brucey B is a bigger guy, so you can get away with playing him at the three, but he's shooting, what, 33% from behind the arc? Not exactly what we're used to when you consider what Taurean Prince is doing for us. So that's a little bit of a concern for me. If I'm a Laker fan, $22 million to move into that situation. Now maybe, just maybe, if somebody would be kind enough to take my Gabe Vincent at $15 million contract, move that, and then maybe move $5 million more worth of salary. Yeah, now we're talking about bringing in Brucey B, and it doesn't hurt my team as much. It's more of addition. But if I got to subtract a Rui Hachimura, if I got to subtract a D'Angelo Russell to bring in Bruce Brown, like I said, I'm just plugging one hole and opening up two more. So those are things that I'm just not willing to do if I'm a Laker fan, but I do see the need to bring in a player like that, because at the end of the day, he's going to be at the size that ultimately helps him, plays defense the way that I need him to. And it's an upgrade in my shooting guard position right now, which is a little iffy when you got guys like Max Christie trying to play the two guard, Austin Reeves who can't defend anybody, that kind of thing. You're a little iffy right now with the two guard spot, but I think our answer at two guard is probably something that can come a bit more at a discount. You know, maybe you make a trade with Chicago and try to bring yourself back a Caruso who's going to cost a little less and maybe means a little more to you, given the fact he's won here already. I had somebody in the comment section mention to me that Ayo Dosunmu was somebody we probably should be looking to get at the two guard spot. A little redundant for me in regards to playing like Cam Reddish. He's basically another Cam, not expected to shoot much. Combo guy, can get other guys involved, hit fast break, stuff like that. But I don't really look at him as much of an upgrade from Cam Reddish. So for me, it's like that's not my answer. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to do anything, I'd probably just hold on to Cam Reddish and just be cool with that. So, you know, Brucey B would be great if he wasn't signed to such a massive contract. I know it comes off the books very soon, but just to try to fit it in, it's going to cost a lot to try to make that happen. So I'm just going to try to go in a different direction if I'm the Lakers. But the fit is there, definitely there. So, yeah, man, those are the teams that come to mind for Bruce Brown, man. I don't know that Masai will move him. For all I know, they keep him. He does fit. But if I'm him, I'd rather move on from that situation, given the fact that they have absolutely no chance of winning anything right now. But just the same, you might want to showcase yourself if you're him on a team like that so that you can play for your next contract. Because if he does a great job with maximum minutes, given the fact that he probably will have a lot of minutes with that team, maybe he can play himself into a position to get more money. So it just depends on what his personal goals are at this stage in his career. But for me, I want to win. I want to win. So that's what I'm telling y'all. If I'm Bruce Brown, I want to win. So yeah, man, I just figured I'd make a quick Brucey B video. I'm sure there are other teams that I'm not thinking about that probably fit. But I think of the main contenders or the places that he would otherwise most fit and who have the money to get him. And bring him in without having to gut things that matter from their team. And there ain't too many contenders out there, to be honest with you. When you consider the NBA landscape, it's only like 3 or 4 teams that have a legitimate chance of winning a championship. Maybe he can be the solution for some of these teams. Maybe you bring him into the Houston Rockets situation or something. Probably not, but you know what I'm saying? It's a team like that, Sacramento or something, and try to bring them over the top. I don't know. But at that amount, it's kind of hard to see that. And so that's why I tell people, man, if you're going to sign a contract, make sure you're not pricing yourself out of your position, pricing yourself out of the game. Because a lot of times you take the money and now you become a tradable contract or a contract no one ever wants or that kind of thing. You just find yourself in a situation where you don't end up what it is that you ultimately are both best for being in. And then your value ends up drawing down from being in that position that it really ain't best for you. You know what I mean? Now you're losing value, but the contract's still valued up. So it's like you're stuck. And that's what ends up happening to a guy like Zach LaVine. If he would have signed for $10 million less, he'd be on the team he want to be on right now, playing the type of basketball he wants to play, with the position to get more years attached to his contract to make up the dollar amount. See what I'm saying? They ain't going to give you $10 million next time more. They're going to try to bring you down since you've been seen as a negative asset for the past 2 years on that contract. So you end up don't actually make the money in the long run. You'd have made more if you would have just kept yourself at the price that you were supposed to be expected at. So like these are the type of things that players need to be up on and they representation needs to make them aware of. You don't want to price yourself too high out of the game, and you certainly don't want to price yourself too low and then end up like Dennis Schroeder and never actually making that money up. So it's a balance that needs to be understood. And that's what we try to talk about on this channel. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the end of my conversation. I hope everybody enjoyed what we're saying here. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.